Hey everyone, this is your midday market update for Friday, October 28th, 10:56, 11 a.m. So we have gone parabolic in the stock market, which is our big melt up. So all of a sudden, all of our retail investors today have come in on Friday. So that's good. It's nice to have the retail investors back. A little bit of volume comes back into this market with the retail investors coming back in as well too. So those folks are back in. The Robin Hoods of the world are back in here trading, and that's so there's definitely a risk on. And as you can see with a chart like that, that is a very parabolic chart. All looks good for more growth. However, all of the things that we still have going on are still going on. We've got all of a sudden our crude oil is down just a dash, gold's down just a dash, but stocks are soaring, soaring. Johnson & Johnson, of course, is doing okay, but mortgage rates are 7%. And when we look at the data sets in the spreadsheet, if I just go over there, of course, my account's not doing that great. I was expecting it to be up $2,000 today. It's only up 409. Now, the only thing I am long any longer, I've been trading in and out of Honeywell today. I bought it at 330, sold it at 4, bought it at 340, sold it at 4. As it fluctuates around between 196 and 200, so that's been nice. I did get out of all of my shorts. My Amazon short worked out really well, but then my Apple short was working against me, so took all that off the table, got rid of it all. It's okay. I was still up for the day. I got rid of my Yang short. It's trading at 745. There was a nice gain there. Got rid of it. I am long the energy complex for now 1125, which is far into the future. 89 calls at 1125. Down a little bit because I've been buying. I got 5 calls. I control 500 shares of oil long there in the XLE. We'll see what happens with that. And then the only short that I am still carrying, just because I can't get rid of it, the SQQQs. I am down on it 222 and $80 in the entire trade, but I look at that and say, I'm just going to hold this because this is not too far out in the future. I'm going to need to stretch this out a little bit longer if this trend continues down. And that's okay. It is what it is. I'm sitting far better than my account is up to the highest level it's ever been. So that's all good. But when we look at, if we go over to the spreadsheet, and unfortunately the spreadsheet got sleeping here, so let's reopen it. We have, of course, gone parabolic here in our charts. We're way off of anything in the mathematical model. So we've had some consolidation there. There's been some people selling, which has been a little bit interesting. As we go across the channel, of course, our industrials are soaring. Our healthcare is soaring. Our financials are up 10%. We had some consolidation here in the XLC. Some people were selling. Now we've got an uptrend day, but look for that to collapse because nobody's paying their cell phone bills. I'm supposed to go over and get a new cell phone today. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. But anyway, we've got some consolidation coming in the XLY, which is interesting. That's the consumer. So consumer debt levels are soaring. Used car financing is getting exceptionally difficult to do because every used car is now underwater because the pricing points or valuations of used cars have been crashing as nobody's making their payments and banks are having to go out and foreclose on cars that are worth considerably less than what they even owe the paper on. Paper in the used car market has stopped trading. paper in the used car market has stopped trading, and banks have gotten out of the used car financing business altogether. There are all of these new things that are coming in. Paul Pelosi being mugged in his own house in San Francisco is not a good sign for where we're at as a society, because as crime goes through the roof, that gets people scared as well too. There's just lots of data points. This is where am I at here? The XLK, of course, it consolidated, and now, of course, it's soaring. So we're to expect that 116 to 128, somehow it's soaring, even though tech earnings came out and only Apple beat. Everything else has been dead in the water. Yet we're supposed to believe things are the most amazing in the world. Utilities, even though interest rates are going through the roof and utilities are exceptionally prone to interest costs, soaring utilities all of a sudden. And we have, this is interesting, the XLE is consolidating down lower. Why? It's just an after earnings thing. ExxonMobil, of course, came out and said we made $19 billion in the quarter, double what we did last year. So, of course, Joe Biden right away went running out into the Rose Garden with his bathrobe on and his slippers on. And he said, we need to tax these oil companies because how dare they make profits? And ExxonMobil said, yeah, but we pay back to Americans by giving them dividends, and we're going to raise our dividend to those Americans that wish to invest in us. And also, you have to keep in mind that because we can no longer get oil out of the United States, ExxonMobil and Hess Corporation, two great oil plays, have found a bunch of oil. On Wednesday, they announced that they found a bunch of oil in Guyana, offshore Guyana. And that is our oil sources for the future for the United States of America. Since we can't drill in the United States right now until we get a different person in the office, then we have to go offshore Guyana. And luckily, the offshore Guyana oil is actually kind of clean. And they're saying that, gee, we just found two more sources of offshore oil Guyana, and we have no clue how big these sources are, but it's massive. And ExxonMobil, when you buy the shares of the stock, you own Guyana offshore oil. So you become a sheik. You become an oil baron when you own the shares of ExxonMobil stock. And that, of course, is why I've been loading up and have the 5 long contracts for oil. This is just a little consolidation play so far. Nothing to be concerned about. We'll see how the rest of the day comes in. It's had an awesome run, 79 to 89. A little bit of give back. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Go long oil. It's just a head fake. XLP, which is the grocery store stuff, all of a sudden is up and away on a beautiful balloon. So we're supposed to assume that everything is massively fine. And if we go back again too, since I've been doing this, we've steadied out here at up 600 for the day. There is no mathematical model to support any of this. The Federal Reserve is doing an amazing job of calling back money. If you go over to Zero Hedge, there's some interesting articles here. Let's just go there. I believe that the market is in this rally mode because of the election results that are going to be coming up here. CNN, of course, is laying off more. Top Dems urge Biden to nationalize the oil and gas industry. How dare we make money? It's like, what the heck? Michigan, inflation expectations increase from September. Hope dips. So inflation is going to continue to keep soaring. U.S. pending home sales have collapsed in October, weakest level since 2010. Exxon reports record earnings, diesel shortage. There's a massive diesel shortage in the United States of America. There's a massive heating oil shortage in the United States of America because we have not built any refineries since 1970. December rate hike odds rise. This is an interesting article here. So the market is soaring because they believe that the Federal Reserve will peter out, that they will change their directive, that they will raise in November 75 basis points, and then they'll say, yeah, we're not going to raise anymore. We're going to stop. But in reality, this article, December rate hike odds rise after the Federal Reserve's favorite inflation signal shows no signs of slowing down. So the Federal Reserve might have to raise by 75 basis points in December. Treasury market is, of course, in its problems. And then we get into Twitter and semiconductor. All of a sudden, there's a big flood of semiconductor chips. We know all of that. But this was an interesting, this was an interesting thing. The Democrats come out and say, how dare there be profits in the world? We should nationalize all of our oil industry and take it all away. What they don't realize is that the oil is not coming out of the United States of America. The American companies aren't even drilling in the United States of America because they can't. They're developing offshore Guyana, where there's lots of oil over there, and the Guyanese people really, really like having industry come into their country. And it's raising their standard of living considerably in Guyana because they're hiring lots of Guyanese people to go out there and get the oil out of the ground, put it on tankers, and bring it into the United States to be refined in our 1970-year-old. News out of China, of course, is not good. More lockdowns. I did sell my China short. I might buy it back at some point in time. It's just a trade. It's a daily trade for me. I had a nice little $500 or $440 gain in there, so it's time to go ahead and get that out. I'm pretty happy with where I'm sitting here right now, sitting about 25.5. That's just kind of that's the highest spot I've been in a very, very long time. It's a good spot to be. I'm up 72% since I started doing these videos and teaching myself how to trade options. It's not a problem to just be sitting here saying, it's not that bad of a place to be. Also, in my other business units, I just signed with Real Geeks this morning, and I'm going to do some different lead generation there. I'm going to keep my agent locator sites for now and make some decisions about that in the new year. I do have to get some volume across my channel. April is my reset, and I need to get a couple more houses sold between now and April. Also, taxes are due in April, so I got to get a couple more houses sold in April to be able to pay for my massive tax bill every April. It's huge. And so at the end of the day, it is what it is. All that stuff's all good. Get out there, do some things today. We're soaring today on news of nothingness. Think about that. We're soaring today on news of nothingness. There's no justification for the numbers that we're at, and an irrational market will correct back to being a rational market. At the very least, we know that 31.8 is a support level now because we've blown beyond it. So we just sit around and wait for 31.8 to come back in. And, I might go in and do some trading at some point in time, but I've got too much other stuff to have to do today. If I just hit my little refresh button here quickly. Yeah, so oil is just, I've got 400 shares of ExxonMobil, and that's all I've got in the longs, and I've got 500 shares of XLE long, and I've got my little 100 shares of tech short, just because I can't sell the damn thing, and it is what it is. So anyway, enjoy the day.